You might spend all your time writing poetry, reading poetry, but how much analysis do you do with craft? Mary Ruefle has this collection of craft essays called Madness, Rack, and Honey, and we're going to take a look at the first chapter. In life, the number of beginnings is exactly equal to the number of endings. In poetry, the number of beginnings exceeds the number of endings that we cannot even conceive it. This essay is called On Beginnings, and it spends the time trying to understand where poetry actually comes from. Where do poems begin? And one of the first things we have to admit is that not every poem is actually going to be finished. The number of poems that we start is way higher than the number of poems that we actually ever get to conclude. And that's okay. When we think of how poems begin, there is this quote by Paul Valery. Mike's apologies if I mispronounced the name. A poem's opening is a strange fruit we've never seen before. The poet's job is to create the tree. One of the quotes that I think is really interesting from this section too is this: if you have an idea for a poem, a grid of intent, in Mary's words, you are on the wrong path. I think that's really interesting when it comes to thinking about scripts. Like if you have an idea of every single point where your poem is going to hit, then maybe we're not serving what the poem really wants to do. As this essay explores the beginnings of poems, it also spends some time thinking about the endings as well. Roland Barthes says, end with a last word, a silence or incongruence. Gaston Bachelard says, instead, we begin in admiration and end by organizing our disappointment. Ouch. But I think that often captures how a lot of art is. You had this idea in your head, and then you kind of ask yourself, can we actually achieve it? And oftentimes the final product doesn't entirely capture what we had in mind when we began it. Which one of these quotes resonates the most with you?